part 3 of Fort Humboldt tour and a little bit of just a history, what I do know, what they're telling us here. I know it's a sad place. It's always been considered a sad place for me and for other natives that, you know, just thinking about what happened and how our ancestors were treated. This here is talking about put the boat in the water. Below this bluff was the village of Galchilwillick. Wow, that's what that was called. Eureka Humboldt Bay was called Galchilwillick. Put the boat in the water. Across, near Hickshari, Elk River. Across the entrance of Wagee, Humboldt Bay. I like that name, Wagee. Okay, the settlement lay at the center of the Wiyot territory. Villagers created a thriving economy through trade in the bay's abundant resources. The Wiyot were one of the few tribes in California that built ocean-faring sea craft, regularly hunting large marine mammals. And there's some nice pictures of their fish. As a Yurok, which I'm a coastal native too, not too far up the road, this is everything that our tribe represents as well. The fish, you know, living off the water, hunting. We lived in plank houses. Our regalia was similar. There probably is some differences there. Our language. And I'm sure we traded as tribes with each other, you know, probably fought with each other too. Who knows? Probably have kids in common with each other too. So it's interesting. A seal sleeping on the water was warily approached by two men in a canoe who remained quiet while the animal's nose was above the water and paddled when it was submerged. When the canoe was a few yards distant, the man in the bow launched a harpoon. Edward Curtis. Wiyot tribal member Irene Carlson in 1937, overlooking the Bucksport site of her family's home in Bucksport. You know, there's a store, probably see it right over the hill. It's called Bucksport, so that's odd. I mean, I've never heard Bucksport so much as I'm hearing it right now. Okay, in December 1849, members of the Gregg Party reached Humboldt Bay. They were contacted by residents of Galchilwillick, including Chief Kiwiletta. The chief welcomed the newcomers and supplied them with clams and elk meat at the end of their visit. A member of the Gregg Party, David Buck, carved his name in a tree, claiming Bucksport as his own. Over time, the village of Galchilwillick struggled because of its neighbor Bucksport's increasing immigrant population. On February 26, 1860, a group of white villagers attempted to fix the Indian problem for good. Armed with clubs, machetes, they stormed 5 Wiyot villages, murdering hundreds of unarmed women and children in their sleep. The village Galchilwillick was wiped off the map. In spite of this destruction, Wiyot people continued to live in Bucksport / Eureka today. Ever since that massacre, the Shells have never heard the Indian songs. Albert James Wiyot. December 1849, or they said this happened on February 26th, 1860, but there was an exact massacre on an island a few miles from here all women and children. It sounds like the same story, but a different time. And I'm sure nobody got in trouble for that. I don't hear about any consequences for, Bucksport still has that business today, and I feel like giving them a piece of my mind. I don't know if they'll do any good, but here's the chief, and he sounded like he was a fair chief. He wanted to trade, he wanted to negotiate, he wanted to work with people, and he wasn't a greedy person.